In the year 2022, what was the most common password in the world?
Ma'am, I would guess password 1234.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes, 123456 is the most commonly used password. Lots of people use the name of a city in their password. Can you take a wild guess? Which city is the most commonly used word in passwords?
Ma'am, is the city in India?
No,
I think Tokyo.
good guess. Most popular city, so yeah, a lot of people might just use their own city. No, but that's not the answer.
I don't know what the answer is.
The answer is Abu. You know the first part of Abu Dhabi? Apparently, it's the most commonly used city in the world, in featuring in passwords. On that note, let's introduce ourselves to listeners who've never heard this podcast channel. Hi there, you're listening to What's New Today. This is a kids and family podcast about current events shaping our world. This is your host Sangeeta from India, and joining me today to talk about how can we make passwords safer. I have two very young co-hosts who've joined me, and I don't know if I should call the two of you nerdy, should I? Not at all?
I don't really mind it because all my friends call me nerdy.
All right, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Advait Nair. I'm 14 years old and I study in 9th grade. I live in Delhi.
Hello, my name is Shambhavi Natyal. I am also a 9th grader. I am 13 years old. I am from India and I live in Ghaziabad.
Welcome to the show, both Advait and Shambhavi. Advait is perfectly okay with calling himself a nerd. So, Shambhavi, which adjective would best describe you?
I don't know, chic? Though its definition is like being elegantly stylish, it's used in more of a form like that.
All right, welcome nerd Advait and chic Shambhavi. So
Very
before
much.
we jump into deconstructing what makes for a strong password, so can you both share when do you use passwords? In what circumstances and contexts do children use passwords?
I usually use passwords to log into websites. To sign up in websites, I enter passwords and I usually use passwords in that scenario. I access social media, for example, YouTube, Instagram.
I use passwords to access my email. I also use passwords to open apps like Zoom and also open up my phone.
Ah, yes, opening up our phones, I kind of forgot. Although opening up our phones kind of uses a very different format of a password, right? Compared to our emails and websites.
I think that when we construct passwords for different websites and email accounts, we need to add symbols, signs, and use different letter cases as well as add numbers. But when we make a password for our phones, we are not told to do so, and it is not a must.
So clearly, in a phone, we are oftentimes limited to about 4 characters. On websites, we are all allowed up to 20, 30 characters if you do want to use it. What do you think is safer?
If you have a password that has 25 characters, it will be very difficult for hackers to break in through that password or bypass the protection because of the length of the key and the password.
When there are lesser number of sequences, like if there are only 4 digits, then there would be lesser number of guesses for the hacker to try. Whereas for a 25 or 35 character password, there would be a way wider range of passwords to try from, and so it would be harder for the hacker to hack it.
Can each one of us come up with just now on the spur of the moment a crazy password that would be really long that you think is a safe password?
A dog ate my ramen, which had to be washed by the salesman.
I was just looking around my room to find anything to just add into my sentence. I saw the periodic table on the wall, and I'm just trying to figure out something from that.
Okay, I'll give you a small hint. You know what a lot of people do? They take 2, 3 words that have no connection.
Arrogant rhodium 1019.
Good one, yeah. Nobody would combine arrogant and rhodium under normal circumstances.
$sign.
And you want to add $sign to that. Oh, great idea. Some special characters too. And we might also change 1 or 2 of the characters in arrogant rhodium into uppercase. Fabulous. So we're making some headway here. So the first step is make your passwords as long as you can. Second step is please combine words that have no connection at all. Third step is add numbers. And fourth step is add special characters like $. Fifth step, please introduce some uppercase. So recently, when I was reading about the kind of words that keep appearing in people's passwords, I found it very interesting to note that the names of football clubs, I believe, is quite a common occurrence in passwords. Would either of you like to make a wild guess as to which football club features most commonly in passwords across the world?
Ma'am, is it a football club or is it a national team?
No, a football club.
Ma'am, I would take the guess Barcelona.
It's not Barcelona.
Then I think it's Real Madrid.
Hint, it's not a club from Spain.
Manchester United.
Shambhavi, that was a very close guess. It was not Manchester United, but it's another club from England. The answer is Liverpool. Another word that commonly features in people's passwords, I believe, is the days of the week. Any guesses which day a lot of people are likely to prefer using as part of their passwords?
Sunday.
Friday.
The correct answer, I believe, is Friday. Perhaps because for a lot of people, Friday signifies that there is hope ahead, and Sunday signifies that there may be some drudgery the week ahead. So I guess inspired by all of these suggestions, we can start using some obscure kabaddi clubs and maybe combine it with the least favorite day. But while we are guessing, would you like to take a guess as to what is the most common length of a password in terms of the number of characters people use?
Probably 12 or 16.
10.
By virtue of proximity, Shambhavi is correct. The correct answer is 8. Do you think a lot of people are not playing it safe by keeping their passwords really short?
It depends on what you are trying to protect through that password. If it's just a silly website where you just logged in for something, to see something, then it doesn't really matter. But if you're using your password for a bank account, then you just have to make your password longer.
So all this while we've been talking about how we need to make our passwords safer, because we are worried that if our passwords fall into the wrong hands of a hacker who might want to access, say, something like our bank account, and we want to prevent something like that from happening, what can we do? So far, if a hacker has a regular computer, they usually run algorithms and they try multiple different sequences and combinations to figure out what is our password. And if your password is really, really long, several characters long, and they're completely unrelated words, and there's a lot of special character combinations and uppercase and lowercase, then a regular computer might take, in some cases, even many, many years to figure out what your password is. But people are now worried that if a quantum computer were to run such algorithms, it can hack even really long and complex passwords in just a matter of seconds or at most minutes. But the good news is a quantum computer does not exist so far. But just for our own curiosity and understanding, what is a quantum computer? Advait or Shambhavi, do you want to try and explain it?
A classical computer stores our data in the form of zeros and ones, while a quantum computer stores its data in a form called qubits. Um, in a qubit, both zeros and ones can exist at the same time. So it can do its calculations at an exponentially fast rate.
So, because a quantum computer can work things out really, really fast, the most obvious purpose that a lot of people think quantum computers will be put to is to hack people's passwords. So, the most fundamental difference is that today's supercomputers can work at some pace. When quantum computers work, they can make calculations at a significantly higher pace, like super, 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 super fast. But that said, in today's day and age, with what we have, if you had to go and tell your friends how they can make their passwords safer, what are the two things you would like to recommend to them?
To have a mix of capital and lowercase letters, as well as signs and symbols and numbers.
To increase the length of their password and just fill the password with any random word. Don't that so that the password doesn't make any sense.
Wonderful. On that note, let's move to the next interesting part of this episode.
Quiz time.
Today's quiz is a little different. I'm going to leave you all with two passwords, and I'd like you to tell us which of these you think is a safer password. Password 1, sharks near volcanoes, 123456 $. And password 2, coffee 45 Olympics, #cardboard, #cub. I'm leaving both of these passwords in the show notes also for you to be able to read very easily. Take a look at it and leave us a note whether you think password 1 or 2 is safer. If you're listening to this on Spotify, if you just scroll down the show notes, you can find a place where you can just reply and leave us your answer right there. If you're listening to this on any other podcast platform, you can drop us an email at hello@wsnt.in. Shambhavi and Advait, I had a wonderful time chatting with both of you. And I should thank both of you for doing your bit of research on password characters and quantum computers. And that brings us to the end of this episode. But before we go, the usual reminders. If you'd like to get updates on new episodes which drop every Monday and Friday on your WhatsApp, there's a WhatsApp community. You can join us and we'll send interesting updates, also inviting new child co-hosts on this show. And can I request you to please help us spread the word and build our listener base? And all you've got to do is to click, follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast and leave us a rating and review. That is what will really help us move up the charts and help us reach more listeners worldwide. Thanks for listening.